It's a race to get us underway. Let's join Simon.
And a roar sends them on their way from the crowd towards the first flight of hurdles. Stars and Well Chief amongst the leaders. Don Fernando very nearly unships Tom Scudamore at the first flight. He's lost a stirrup item. He might have got it back now. Well Chief, though, is the early leader in the hands of Tony McCoy in the blue and green jacket. With on the near side, King Solomon is up there as well. Not far off the Mutineer, and also Old California as they race through the first couple of furlongs. And on towards the second flight, and it's Mutineer from Old California in front of the stands here. Well Chief on the inside, Don Fernando and Spectroscope on their heels. Then behind these is Kenilworth towards the inside with Red Wine as they pass in front of the packed stands here in this JCP Triumph Hurdle. It's Well Chief that leads them from Old California and Mutineer second and third. Then Red Wine on the inside of Don Fernando and Spectroscope, followed next by King Solomon wide of Starzan and Kenilworth. Newlands Gold is next, then from on the inside Ken's Dream with Mugas and Duke of Earl, and wide is Nosnari. Golden Cross the favourite, a bit worse than midfield in these early stages. On the inside is Dashing Home, then Leduc, and then Turbo as they start down the back. Money Train's off the pace at the moment with Andy Ginny. Lilium Ducot is out wide. Overstrand is just about last. Also one of the back markers is Fortune Island as they jump the next, and out the back also is Turbo. Running down towards the next flight of hurdles, flight number 4. And it's Well Chief from Old California, Martin Pipe 1 and 2. Mutineer third, Red Wine on the inside, Don Fernando right there as well. Spectroscope in very pale colours is in the leading half dozen. They're followed by Starzan in a blue jacket and Newlands Gold, who fiddled over that. King Solomon out very wide, a grey horse in light blue colours with hoop sleeves. Ken's Dream in the grey jacket towards the inside. Money Train in the green, travelling very strongly on the fence in behind the leading dozen or so, with Kenilworth in a spotted jacket just on the outside of Money Train. But it's still Well Chief that leads them up the hill towards the flight at the top of the racecourse, and it's Well Chief from Old California who's down there. Horrible for Old California, and several brought down behind. Money Train has been brought down. Kenilworth very badly hampered indeed as they run now towards the top left-hand turn, and Old California in second place when coming to grief there. It looks as though Don Fernando is also gone at that flight of hurdles. Right out the back, Dashing Home may well have been hampered. Overstrands right out the back as well. But meanwhile, Well Chief was in front and out of trouble there under the champion jockey. Second is the Grey Mutineer, then Spectroscope. Sancerre moving well now under Mick Fitzgerald in the white colours, about 4 horses to the left. Then King Solomon, and coming there Turbo as they run downhill towards the second last flight of hurdles. Little Rort is very wide as well in a white cap. There it was Well Chief from Spectroscope. Another one's gone. It could be Nosnari is down at the second last as they run towards the final turn then in a very eventful Triumph Hurdle. It's Well Chief, Spectroscope, Mutineer, Sancerre, then Leduc who's running on. Also with a run is Mugas and Lilium Ducot for France as well. As they run inside the last quarter mile, Well Chief kicks again, but Spectroscope is challenging hard. Then a wall of horses behind these. Lilium Ducot, Newlands Gold, Leduc runs on. Also Golden Cross is still in the race. It's Well Chief over the last just ahead of Spectroscope. Lilium Ducot, then Golden Cross and Mugas. Well Chief under Tony McCoy. Spectroscope trying to get on terms. Head to head up the hill. Spectroscope's getting up on the far side of Well Chief. There's nothing between them, but Spectroscope has sacked close home. Spectroscope won it from Well Chief in second. Golden Cross is third. Lilium Ducot 4 for France. Mugas in fifth. Then Newlands Gold and Leduc and Mutineer. Dashing Home, Red Wine. King Solomon, behind King Solomon then was Fortune Island, Starzan, Little Rort, and it's Wallace Jr. Overstrand and Sancerre who faded, Duke of Earl, and then Turbo, followed across the line by Tanikos, Andy Gin and Ken's Dream, right out the back Kenilworth as well. So Spectroscope has landed the spoils here, and it's Barry Geraghty again. What a fantastic festival meeting this young Irishman is having. His 4th winner here after You'll Never Walk Alone, inching closer, and Moscow Flyer. And another win too for John Joe O'Neill. He's had a mixed week. He's had some very strongly fancied disappointments, but he's had winners as well, inching closer. And Sudden Shock has won for Jackdaws Castle this week. Meanwhile, there's one of the casualties, Norman Williamson, hobbling into the ambulance after being brought down on the German Raider Money Train, who was going well when brought down after Old California fell at the third last. A horrible incident there. The front two lucky to avoid the trouble. Well Chief and the winner here, Spectroscope.
And Langway, that was a good result for the bookmakers. Spectroscope 25 and 20 to 1 in the offices this morning returned a 20 to 1 chance to win the JCB Triumph. McCoy did all he could on Well Chief, could not get the horse home. He's 7 to 1, third favourite, and he's beaten ahead and 5 lengths of the distance. The third, Golden Cross, sent off the gambled on 11 to 2 favourite, when Lillian de Cock was fourth at a pony 25 to 1. But the first strike for the bookmakers now, Spectroscope. Despite McCoy's frantic efforts on Well Chief, the bookies are in front on the first race on the third day of the festival. But they've got a lot of catching up to do.